Welcome, 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 dear all, to twitch.tv/Wensleydale Cheddar, where bad manga burn. This is Stammer stream, although the working title used to be Fern Humping Time. I'm your stammering host, Wensleydale Cheddar, here alongside your non-stammering hosts, Kastor UK, Hovin with an H, and Dr. Nova, and of course our special guest, Grail9. How are you guys doing this week?
Pretty good. Finally getting back to XCOM 2 now that the new expansion is coming.
At this point, I think I might count as the special guest a little bit more than Graham.
Well, yeah, I'm not so special anymore now that I've been here quite a lot. So, yeah.
Yeah, although, I'm not bad. I just saw the DuckTales 2-part pilot, which was great. It's really good.
I don't say really good, but I'd say it was good. Well, I think that the boys were a bit too annoying and obnoxious for my taste. Like, this might be just that I hate children in general, but...
Oh. Why is it every time we get a new guest on the stream, there's somebody who hates kids?
Hey,
Once I like someone on my side of the argument.
Hey, I got a working deal that works for both parties. They don't stay in my side, and I don't give a fuck.
I think I don't know. There were two moments which like actually made me laugh out loud. That doesn't happen much, so props to it for that.
Which ones were those?
It was when like he said, "Oh, I need the head of Scrooge McDuck," and he gives him the statue head, and he goes, "I should have been more specific." And the other one was when they were flying the plane. He's like, "Okay, I'm just gonna need to be very careful." And, oh, it's the ground.
Yeah, one thing I'm gonna have to get used to is because I watched DuckTales as a kid, but that was the Finnish version with all names were the Finnish translations. So I'm gonna have to adjust my mind so I know that names like Magica to spell.
What David Tennant didn't also voice the Finnish and Polish versions?
I don't know. I
think this is his first time voicing any version of it. So
it definitely is, and I'm very, very grateful because every show needs more David Tennant.
Yeah.
Oh, it does. I want to see the crossover with DuckTales and Jessica Jones. No one asked how Scrooge got his money.
The danger lurks behind you.
He's been in so many shows. You know what? I guess that's a better pick than Broadchurch, but still, that's still pretty dark. I love
is and forever will be the best Doctor.
Oh, you know the first line Scrooge says in the new DuckTales is fantastic, which was the 9th Doctor's catchphrase, so yeah, neat little reference there.
Oh, yeah.
So there's no Jump release, so we're instead going to talk about everything we've missed since our little hiatus. Sans Fairy Tale, of course. Well, maybe apart from Jonah, who hasn't been there last week for the Grand Review. So, Jonah, any thoughts on the Fairy Tale's ending?
Oh, yes. So here's the thing about the ending of Fairy Tale. On the one hand, it's pretty much exactly what I expected. I guess what I would just say is that I think for a series like Fairy Tale, I think I expected Acnologia's defeat to be something a bit bigger. So that was a bit of a... Huh?
And well written?
No, I didn't expect that. That's the thing. I didn't expect it to be well written. I expected like every single Dragon Slayer to fire out like a solar beam of friendship, while Acnologia being like, "Oh God, my only weakness is like magic with like friends in it," and like that's
like
how
the end of the Tenro arc had basically all of the main 5 use a big special attack on the bad guy, one after the other. Like,
Also because canonically we've seen that friendship magic is the one thing he can't eat.
You see, here's the thing. That's what I was hoping for. Because that's stupid, but that's the kind of stupid I'm used to with Fairy Tale. That's the kind of stuff that, as much as I hate it, I can find it charming at times. I guess I just like when it was just like, oh, we're sending all our energy to Natsu, which I still don't really get how that works. within
You
the world.
spirit bomb into Gear 3. We went through this.
Okay, that's fair. And then he's just like, oh, I guess I punched him really hard, and it was just a little disappointing, and just didn't seem to have a lot of weight to it. And I also, and maybe somebody can explain this to me, I guess I didn't really understand the point of like what all the other characters were doing in the real world. It was like, well, I mean, I guess we stopped him for a few seconds.
The implication was that they held Acnology's dragon body for a second, which I think, because Hiro rewrote it 3 times in the chapter, made Acnology's spirit body freeze so that Natsu could punch him.
It was more interesting. It was just overall, I was hoping for something a bit more big and a tad more grand.
And then the entire world got involved, and it's not grand enough. You know you fucked up.
Yeah. And then for the final chapter, I mean, all of the pairings, I guess they existed. I didn't really know half of these were a thing. But there is one thing I found extremely hilarious. It wasn't just the fact that like there was that weird Urza thing with like, I guess Urza combs her hair now, like she didn't beforehand. Like I don't think she needed. In that case, I don't think she needed to. It was that like, and then Natsu was like, "We're going on a 100-year quest," and we have like Gray there, and for all the thing, Gray still doesn't bring Juvia. I forgot. I didn't realize that. The funniest thing to me. It was just the perfect cap on that awful relationship.
Juvia's just hanging out with Aquarius at the bar.
And there were so many people who we didn't say, did Loki ever show up again?
Brandish didn't show up again.
Okay, Brandish I don't care about. I didn't care about... okay, I guess it's a little odd that there's certain people who didn't show up here and there. Brandish, I forgot she existed, to be honest. But for Loki, because like he shows up on like the big color. It's like, remember, he was a big character. I'm like, yeah. And now I guess he's just kind of like chilling in the spirit world forever, assumably. Lucy was a writer, which
apparently
okay. That she was.
Oh.
It's been something that's been so like not just glossed over, but maybe it's because I've seen this in a lot of series. But I feel like so often when manga characters don't have like a direction for their female characters to go into as much, they're like, and they become a writer at the end. And even though it was foreshadowed with Lucy a little bit, it just seemed a little bit out of nowhere because it hasn't been a thing in Fairy Tail for so long.
It's also weird when you're saying, okay, my protagonist is a writer, when there's someone with writing magic in the guild who is apparently a much better writer than they are.
Well, I guess I don't mind that as much as a profession, because wasn't Levy's thing just that she that was her magic? Or did she actually properly write?
No, she officially recorded Fairy Tail's adventures when they came back.
Oh,
which
right.
makes it sound to me like Lucy just stole her hard copy and put her name on it.
Plagiarism.
Yeah.
And again, I don't want to talk too much at length on this because I know you guys did a whole episode on this. Mm-hmm. I think just what I'll end on is it's hard to call it disappointing when I haven't really been invested in Fairy Tail for a long time. But I will say that it is exactly what we've been getting from Fairy Tail for a long time, which is very odd choices and a lack of commitment to what Hiro was trying to do. But frankly, I'm happy it's done, and I hope that Hiro moves on to a more interesting series where he's not just worried about appeasing the fans every single chapter. Because I think he does have a lot of talent, and I'm hoping that we get to see that later on.
So, shall we move on to the freeform discussion of the chapters we've missed? Starting off with One Piece.
Okay. So just skimming through 870.
I think the gist of it over the last few weeks has just been kind of things coming to a head at the wedding, and then the Straw Hats getaway.
Yeah. Well. These last few weeks of essentially, this is why you don't fuck with the Emperor.
Yeah. And I did we talk about the chapter where the chest finally blew up?
Oh yeah.
I can't even.
It certainly went out with a bang.
It was the biggest stroke of luck the Straw Hats could get, and it still didn't entirely save them. I thought it worked pretty well for building up the Emperor. Essentially, the Straw Hats have been saved by several miracles so far, and they still might not get out of this alive.
Well, I mean, considering it's a story about them, I'm pretty sure they are, but yeah, still, like, a stroke of luck bought them a little time.
Yeah, and we've been hit by a lot of One Piece arcs go with, okay, Luffy does something stupid, one thing goes his way later on, and then he managed to turn it around to win and beat the final villain. But we've had so many of those times when it looks like, oh, okay, and then they get away. Oh no, the Yonko are monsters, and it's not going to work this time. Something else needs to be done.
Mm-hmm.
I think it builds well.
And at least this was something that wasn't just like an ass pull, like, oh, there was a bomb in the box. It was set up.
Yeah,
Like, we knew it was going to be given to Big Mom, and Big Mom mentioned she was going to open it at the wedding.
Yeah, we also got a follow up on the Brûlée story of her just being kidnapped for the entire thing, and to the point where she fucks over their entire plan before the counter entire plan gets fucked over by the explosion.
Mm-hmm. No, I liked it quite a bit. In terms of the way One Piece has been, interweaving its plot threads recently, I thought the tomato box was probably the best, in the sense that not only was it a great assistance to the Straw Hats, but the way that it was incorporated was kind of separate from them. It was a side story with the guests that had shown up, of them trying to take it for themselves, and it was their actions that kind of made it fall and explode, which is good, because I feel like something that One Piece does very well, that other series attempt to do but don't always hit very well, is it does calculated chaos very well. In the sense that there are these chaotic things that happen once in a while that seem random, but they all fit together in this very clever way that usually results in the Straw Hats' favor. And as you said, in this case, it didn't entirely, but I do like the fact that what is helping them is not entirely their actions, but also infighting within the different villain factions.
Yeah.
At the same
Deus
time,
Ex Machina that doesn't detract from the narrative.
Yeah, at the same time, we have several characters built up, like another member of the CP0s, that being Susie.
I'm less keen on that.
1920s girl.
Yeah. Every time CP0 have gotten dropped recently, they have... I'm yet to see what CP0 are and why I should treat them as something powerful and relevant. Because, like, we saw them in Dressrosa, they turned up, they're hinted, oh, they're in the country, this is terrifying, and did nothing. And she turned up and she can moonwalk and finger gun, and did nothing. And I'm starting to think that, okay, CP0 worked because I know CP9 are terrifying and these are meant to be the step above.
And they also have former CP9 members on it that we know, like Lucci and such.
Yeah, and I'm waiting for them to do something because they're outlasting their welcome.
I guess
there's just one thing that makes them terrifying for me. It's that they have Spandam. I mean, can you imagine if they released that
How the
guy?
fuck does that guy have a job?
I was gonna say, he's not in charge. What worth does he have? He has no skill sets.
Why is Lucci keeping him alive?
Well, he had the job again because of his dad.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, we saw in Dressrosa that now the tables have turned and he's working for Lucci. Lucci's actually the higher ranking official in this case. So if Fandom isn't the boss, what does he possibly offer to anybody?
Yeah.
Well, did
I guess
he
he's
have
just like
anything to
their
offer when he
errand boy.
was
Like,
the
they
boss?
just kick him around and tell him to polish their boots, and he just does it to have a job because no one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess for me, they've been like a background start of 2 arcs. So I don't think they've quite worn out their welcome on me the way certain plot points have. Like, kind of the will of the D is getting a little stretched out for me in the way it's being executed. But I think it was just particularly during Dressrosa.
Yeah, I just assume we're not going to find out what Will of the D is until essentially we find out what One Piece is.
I mean,
it's going to be like very endgame material.
Maybe I would be more interested in CP0 if they weren't used in Film Gold.
Oh fuck that! Okay, I watched that recently. It's not good. It has one really good moment of the villain's flashback, and the rest is not. I would not recommend watching.
I found it generally quite entertaining, but I thought Lucci and Sabo's inclusion in the film was totally pointless.
Oh, a lot
I've
of
also
it was...
heard that, I haven't watched it, but I heard they were added just so they could say they were added.
Yeah,
It
I think
feels like it.
I think, okay, in that movie's defense, I will say it's one of... Granted, Whole Cake Island is a thing now, which kind of fixes this problem, but it was one of the few times where I genuinely felt a sense of this enemy actually has the upper hand on the Straw Hats for a large portion of this film, which I don't feel like has been conveyed effectively in the manga until this arc for quite some time.
You know,
I'd agree with that.
I like how Usopp's fight was handled, so I consider this film a masterpiece.
I wonder if, theoretically, somebody else could take a crack at a villain who has the ability to turn people into gold. Possibly if he were to fight a tree man on an island of sand. But I don't know, I'm not sure if that's possible, guys.
I'm not sure.
You're just trying to include Askeladd in the One Piece canon.
I'm very heavily hinting what the next Redwood arc is going to be.
I was more annoyed at that movie for the fact that it rewrote Nami's backstory and fucked over most of the Arlong Park arc.
Wait, what?
They to introduce a character, they link her to Nami's backstory and essentially forget most of the Arlong Park arc happened to make it work. And it just doesn't work. Also, a Chia from Fairy Tale's in it.
What? Why?
It's literally the same guy, and he's got no reason to be there.
Oh, god damn it.
I thought that this was supposed to be Tyrion Lannister.
His entire character and like design was. I was like, okay, why is a Chia from? I think I messaged you guys about it. Like, why is a Chia from Fairy Tale in One Piece Gold?
Is it that big bodyguard dude that Chia is? Because I only know 4 characters from that movie.
Oh no, it's the tiny guy. It's the member of the Revolutionaries that gambles. Who's not in the movie for any reason apart from it's another part of the movie has no reason to exist.
I really thought he looked like Peter Dinklage, but I think we're kind of getting off track here.
Timmy.
Hello. Yeah.
So these.
Hello.
Hello.
Fuck my ass.
Wait, what? I think we've broken Hovin.
I don't know, guys. I think Hovin's just fantasizing about how nice Kohaku looks in Dr. Stone.
Yeah, he's gone distracted by Dr. Stone and the rope bikini scene again.
God damn it!
Can I drop out before I can be accused of anything?
I'm way ahead of you, dude. Toodles.
Okay, so let's talk about Askeladd's harem again.
No. That hasn't been a thing for so long. It wasn't even a thing then.
What was actually Dufeld's thing? Who was he? Because I forget.
I don't know the name. Who was it?
That's Big Mom's guess. The one who opens the tomato barco box.
Oh, I don't know. He was
a warehouse owner, I believe.
Oh god, I hate my internet so much. I cut out in the middle of Barnaby's rant, and that's a shame because I really wanted to hear what he had to say, but okay.
Oh.
I was probably thinking about One Piece Gold and how it's not a good movie.
I guess for me it was just a very fun time. Like, it was very glitzy and full of energy, and I generally enjoyed like the
I guess I enjoyed it on that level, and I also thought the whole heist sequence was very fun, and had a few good laughs in it.
Okay, manga,
Filthy.
guys, manga.
Manga.
Sorry.
Okay, King Bomb
Okay,
nearly
but
got
one final
killed
word.
3
Zephyr
times.
is awesome. No manga.
What?
Wait, what?
I just said Zephyr is awesome.
Oh
Back
yeah,
to
that.
manga.
Oh yeah, Film Z is great.
Right, shall we talk about the chapter which has a really good representation of a female character by Oda, and then a destruction of one?
Yay!
Okay.
Because, like in the last chapter we had Nami actually. One of the things I've liked about the whole Cake Island arc is that Nami's done something and been a part of the crew again, and it's been really nice to see. And this chapter was essentially her not defeating Big Mom, but managing to mess with her enough so no one dies, and it works really well.
Yeah.
Also, her utterly destroying Caesar at the end of the last at the end of other chapter, to which people apparently think is, oh, this means he's going to be a Straw Hat. So I thought, really?
Wow.
Oh, there are lots of people I know who are very eager for that to happen.
Oh
She
yeah,
literally told
guys,
him
he's
to die
totally
in a
going
hole.
to join.
She literally told him to die in a hole, and it's just like, is this Ultra Tsundere? Hey, join our crew? I'm very confused here.
I mean, I think I had maybe a slight thought that maybe in some very, very, very minor chance, not really, after this one. I mean, yeah, the guy was a monster who has killed God knows how many people. I don't think any of them want him in their crew.
I thought he was going to leave with Beige, but even they got there, they were just like, no, we don't want you.
Oh, so does this mean it's the end of Gangster Gastino?
I think so, because I honestly thought that was where that storyline was going when he reintroduced himself as Gangster Gastino, and that the rest of Caesar Clown was going to be him with Beige pretending not to be Caesar Clown.
Oh god.
Should we talk about Pudding?
Alright. I've heard one theory on... Okay, obviously, I think what he's going for is Pudding is just good now, because Sanji told her she was pretty, which is stupid and bad. But I've heard one theory that's a little preferable to that, which is that she's kind of two minds. Of, like, she's constantly going between, like, evil... Like, she's not quite fully evil, but she's, like, been shaken a little. And... that she's kind of conflicted, and I like that idea more than she's just...
Yeah, I've heard that theory too, and it's something that I'd prefer to happen, but I'm also on the same line with you that at this point, I've sort of given up hope that it will.
Call me pessimistic, but I think that's reaching a little bit.
Yeah.
I feel like sometimes when it comes to One Piece series, people come up with decent ideas for characters, but I'm not sure they're always One Piece characters. It doesn't. To me, it doesn't really sound like motivation for a character in One Piece.
Which is a shame.
Yeah, I am just a bit generally sick of how much Oda's waffling back and forth on her character with, oh no, she's actually good. Oh no, she's actually evil. Oh no, she's like, oh my god, just get to the point.
I'm gonna need to reread this arc properly to get a grasp on it, because he introduced a character who was a liar, so therefore anything she said you can't take as truth.
And especially her messing up with other people's memories.
How's that going to play into it?
And also at the end of this chapter, I've heard a very good theory, which is she's telling Chiffron exactly what Chiffron wants to hear to get to do what she wants to do. Which is a good theory, and because she's a lying character, it's like, oh yes, I could see that working if the writer wasn't Oda.
I could also see her maybe genuinely wanting to genuinely being interested in Sanji while still retaining her her evil traits.
I mean, like, yeah, you're mentioning how, like, kind of, you know, your faith in Oda has rather been shaken in regard to writing female characters, and I'm kind of the same mindset. Because, like, by comparison, because we've mentioned that, like, Horikoshi does have a problem with underutilization of his female... I genuinely believe that his head is in the right place when it comes to actually writing them. Like I do just think he just happens to have underutilized them. It's not that he's like per se bad at writing them, because he's still able to make really fun characters who, you know, are all very varied and cool, and you know, so I don't know.
Although
Yeah,
I will
it's
say,
I'm getting a bit off topic
Oda
here.
has one advantage over the over Horikoshi, because yeah, in these chapters we see Luffy exchanging blows with Big Mom. So yeah,
yeah.
we have been we have been shown since the beginning, so since the Alvida fight, that Luffy can recognize women as enemies and punch them.
Oh yeah.
Yes, but interestingly, One Piece has a very big track record of no man fights an attractive woman.
Oh yeah.
They're always big
yeah.
blob monsters. Or Nami.
I mean,
them.
Yeah.
I guess if we don't count Usopp versus Perona.
Yeah, but he didn't punch her.
That wasn't a physical fight.
Oh, yeah, that's also a good point.
But
yeah.
but
Well, there is kind of Usopp versus Sugar.
That was not a fight. Usopp got the shit kicked out of him.
although
but
although
round
we
two,
we
he
see
did
we see Luffy punching Vivi, so yeah, it doesn't count as a proper hero versus villain fight, but it counts as Luffy punching an attractive woman.
I think in that regard, I will just say that Oda has genuinely lost his edge in what he's willing to do to female characters over years, like the attractive ones. Because you know, it was a lot stronger in like Arlong Park and
Kuina,
Alabasta
and the Kuina flashback.
Yeah, like, so I'd attribute that to that.
Yeah. Also the problem that his main... Every time we go to a new island and we meet the central, big, attractive female character, this Pudding thing just proved out they're all the same person. It's just getting boring. I think that's my problem with it. Is that Pudding doing anything else would have been interesting, and this is the same.
I think I could have accepted it if it was built better. Like,
Yeah.
you know that Pudding is kind of mistreated by her own family, and that even though she does kind of turn to Sanji, she's still resourceful, gets her own way out, and is still morally dubious. That it's not just like she turns good and that's the end of her role.
Actually, a morally grey female character in One Piece would be interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, and especially the crafty one. Like, she uses this situation to play all the inner factions of Big Mom, so that she gets what she wants with everyone infighting and going by misinformation.
Yeah.
I guess I don't know. I think the difference between this and someone like Rebecca, in that like Rebecca was always kind of a boring character to me. Like I was never like hugely enamored with her. Like what I liked was the one thing I liked about her was kind of Kiros and the way that their relationship was initially treated. But like so like when that totally went down the toilet, I was kind of like, yeah, this is really bad, but I was never that invested. Whereas, like, Pudding actually showed glimpses of something more interesting, which is what makes it a little more tragic.
Yeah. And Rebecca was a good character that made that was a good character idea that had one mistake, and that was making her a decent fighter. Because her entire storyline works really well if she can only just defend herself, but still takes up a sword to fight Doflamingo.
That is kind of the difference. Like, because Hoshi is similarly like what?
Oh god, she was a plot point. She was nothing more.
Yeah, and hey, can you tell me one thing?
No,
What did Rebecca do in that entire arc? One thing she did.
She literally didn't. She was essentially her part to play was the downtrodden person standing up against Doflamingo with no hope of succeeding.
You know, even her winning
which was kind of ruined.
Even her winning her gladiator block was done by Cavendish. So, yeah.
Yeah, and if she had been set up as a hopeless case that won by chance and because she refused to back down, but shouldn't have won it anyway, that would have been a good story to tell. Instead, it's just like, competent female fighter got saved by the man.
Also, I heard a counter argument on her part of like, oh, it makes sense, and this was I like the fact that she's dressed like that, and this was from like a female asexual reader. This isn't like some like fanboy trying to defend the design. Like, it makes sense that she's like that she wears that because she's trying to be like the other gladiators, and I'm like, that would be fine, except they give her like. He gives her a red Sonya bikini, and she has the same physique as every other Oda girl, so it can't help feel like it's meant to be titillating.
I just assumed Doflamingo was fucking with her, and essentially said, "Fine, you have to wear this."
Yeah. I don't know.
So one thing I like though from Pudding is her taking the initiative to bake the cake, which does sound, out of context, it does sound a little sexist, but
Well, when you consider that the price that they for not baking the cake is that a giant woman eats their souls, I guess that's a little better.
yeah.
Also, because it's not just making a cake. It from everything they've given, the idea that making this cake essentially takes all your physical strength, energy, and expertise. It's not, hey, I made a cake. It's like, I'm the only person skilled enough to make this cake.
Plus, ingredients are like the rarest things in the world that they've spent weeks hunting beforehand, and now they have a few hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, as I said, it makes sense in context. So, right. So do you want to talk about the popularity poll?
I'm very confused about Boa Hancock and Marco's everyone in One Piece has boobs. All the girls, at least.
Have you seen her cup size? Those are boobs.
That's not special anymore. All of the girls have the same cup size now. Like,
no,
Robin.
but Hancock is a special case. I'm gonna Google it now because it's absurd. She's like Jessica Rabbit in that she should not be able to exist.
I don't know. Viola's the same way, and she was in a more recent arc.
Yeah, I would argue Robin too. In fact, Robin's almost indistinguishable from him now. So, I'm.
What does bother me is that Sabo was in top 10. I mean, this might be just a personal thing for me, but I kind of hate Sabo.
Oh, that's normal. No, I think it makes total sense that it makes sense to me that he's popular because he's the young, cool Poochie character. But like,
he makes sense in popularity poll, but I still hate the character, kind of.
That's fine.
He's kind of a nothing character to me, really.
He's kind of that really fanficky character, like
he feels like his self-insert OC.
Yeah, that's what my problem with him. Like, he's a brother of the main character that was unmentioned for so long, and he just happens to appear here.
He wears a top hat fedora. He has, he has Ace's flame fruit.
He has from nobility, except he was the one good guy among them.
He's connected to the big important mystery character in the series. He has a really hot girl that like dotes over him all the time.
And he got the power of a previously very liked character and instantly mastered it.
I mean,
that's a good point.
I mean, he was built
instantly
up
for writing that.
I mean, he was built up, but if he were if he had a little more interesting of a personality, then maybe I would find him more interesting.
On a pure here's the thing: on a pure personality level, I like him a bit more than Lore, because Lore is just like a stick in the mud, and like he's actually kind of cheerful, which I can get behind that, like a kind of a happy-go-lucky. Then again, I guess that's nothing special.
But then you don't have any personality flaws to bounce off of. There isn't a very good character dynamic,
I guess.
Name one trait that Sabo has that isn't every shonen protagonist ever.
Oh, yeah, I know, you're right.
He's also kind of a douche to his entire team. I've yet to see any, apart from him being Luffy's old brother, I have yet to see any, like, sympathetic trait to the guy.
Was he?
He just, every time we've seen him talking to Koala, he's just sort of cut off and stopped talking to her.
I don't know. I feel like he's reckless to that team in the same way that Luffy is to the Straw Hats. I don't think that's especially like condemnable, but yeah.
I don't think it was portrayed in that way, at least. In any case, oh god, is Reiju above Usopp? Aww.
I don't get how, but I kind of do, because I do like Reiju. She actually has a personality.
I think she deserves to be above Hancock.
Yeah,
no, because I checked. Hancock's cup size is officially the largest in the series and has increased as Nami and the Robins have.
Yeah.
How does
retweet,
growth spurts work in One Piece?
And hey, some justice happened. Corazon beat his brother in popularity. I mean, in reality, Doflamingo killed Corazon, but still, some kind of victory.
At the very least, I will say at least the English poll had better taste and made Brooke really like the fourth most popular. I'm like, well done, guys. You done good.
And at least Usopp's in the top 10, so yeah, right.
Yeah. Brooke has at least been cool this arc, but top 4 seems a bit of a stretch.
I don't know. He did something cool recently. Like, I don't know. I feel like the Japanese poll kind of screwed him over a bit. Like, he's way down at number 19, and he actually did something this arc. And then I'm just still really salty about Hancock. And well, okay, the other one, flipping. Actually, he's in front of Marco, so I can't be too salty at that. But yeah, Marco's popularity is just weird to me. He's got a cool devil fruit, I guess. But
he's the only mythic Zoan, yeah.
He hasn't done much.
Yeah, and he's not really. Well, I guess by One Piece standards, but he's not really attractive enough to warrant that spot. You know,
I don't know.
from
Like
the
from what
fangirls.
I've heard, he has quite a big female fan base. From what I've heard, weirdly enough.
Maybe that's what girls are into. I wouldn't know.
Yeah. I do have to say, I really like this idea of, like, every time there's a popularity poll, Oda does all of the top 10 characters who want Straw Hats and Luffy. That's a nice change up from the usual.
Yeah, that's nice.
And also that Corazon is very cute on that, just, like, hanging out over lore. Just like, yeah.
Yeah. Telling you of things that never will be, unfortunately. Because he's dead.
We can't get
sad.
We can't get sadness in One Piece. There's a huge list, and we're all just gonna get sad.
Hey, at least the two best villains of the series are pretty high on the list.
Yeah.
Guys, have we just talked for 45 minutes on One Piece?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are we
I
gonna
thought
move?
the plan was to just mostly chat about One Piece.
Yeah.
Are we gonna move on to the other manga, or do we just want to end there?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have that much to say about any of the other manga, except, like, okay, I guess to talk about Promised Neverland really quickly. There's been a lot of big lore reveals in the recent chapters, and
that is kind of big deal.
Yeah.
So.
Although, oddly enough, even though I was,
Used to be a big deal. I'm Scrooge McDuck. I've made my name be. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I made my name be tougher than the toughies and the smarter than the smarts.
Because no, I'm just saying, like, in the past I've been a little more positive on Promised Neverland than other people seem to have been, but it is getting to a point where it feels like we've been wheel spinning for quite some time, and I'm still waiting for it to get interesting again. Which, please, I mean, granted, it has been taking its time to explain lots of key stuff. I'm just, like, literally, like, whenever a series does a big lore dump like this, I'm always like, okay, that's fine. How is this going to affect the series in an interesting way going forward? Like, there was a similarly controversial reveal in, like, relatively recently in the Attack on Titan manga, which a lot of people were underwhelmed by, but I'm more concerned with how things go from it than with the actual exposition of how the lore works itself.
And that lore exposition just kind of I think it was okay exposition, but after that, things got really confusing since I can't tell what timeline each event has been happening in. Like, is this present?
Is this in Attack on Titan?
Yeah, I mean, I do understand that in Attack on Titan, but in that one, I still think like, wait, does this take place in the past? Wait, now we're in the time skip 7 years ahead or
everyone I've
something?
talked to has had that moment of, wait, is this part in the past? What? Glad I'm not alone on that.
Yeah,
shall I do a time code for the Attack on Titan discussion?
Attack on Titan discussion.
Yes. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Promised Neverland has lost me. Yeah. Ever since we left Gracefield House, they left the reason I came back every week, and they really haven't been giving me anything to replace it.
Yeah.
I've not really invested enough in these kids to follow them.
And it is,
by themselves.
And like on the one hand, you could argue, oh, they need to set stuff up, but on the other hand, like,
they've had weeks.
Haven't we been at? Yeah, we've been at this for like 2 volumes worth now, haven't we?
Yeah, nothing's happened. Yeah, there's no reason to follow these kids. Yeah.
I guess.
I mean, I guess.
Yeah.
I'll say first.
Sorry.
I guess it is kind of bad thing to take so long to set up an arc. I mean, how can a manga like that ever really be good? Say, how long did it take to set up Dressrosa?
About 8 years.
Yeah, that's about right. So should we give these guys another 2 at least?
Well,
I guess the flaw in the writing is that
8 years behind it.
I guess the flaw in the writing is that we didn't really have the time to establish a character dynamic among the kids apart from the 3 main characters.
Yeah, and by the nature of the series being constantly like out of the frying pan into the fire, they haven't really given much room for the characters to be memorable and like flesh out some of the side characters, which I'm sure some manga could manage. So I don't know.
Also, Norman's still apparently dead.
Yeah,
and
for now, I mean, unless you see a corpse, they are dead.
Yeah, but
yeah,
he comes back as a demon.
And that's kind of another thing,
that's
because
I'm calling, to be honest.
And that's kind of another thing, since I thought Norman leaving the group could be an interesting move, because that's kind of okay. We sacrifice this character who is kind of the all right here. He has a lot of focus, but in the character dynamic, he's not really that crucial. Because we see a lot more Ray and Emma butting heads, but now that Ray has become a little more like Norman, then we don't see as much of this clash, and perhaps this is why we're not as interested.
Also, I think that we had a 3-man group and we lost one, and no one stepped up to fill it. And there's a reason 3-man groups work. It's because you can play around in cycles, and so no character dynamic gets boring or old.
Yeah.
And no one stepped up to fill it. We haven't seen Don or Gilda get enough development to stand by themselves. I still have no idea what any of the other kids are called.
Yeah.
Shall we move on to Food Wars?
Yeah.
All right.
Essentially, did we cut off with? Essentially, are we reviewing the entire second round?
I think we reviewed it up till Rindo's.
Oh yes, because I got shouted.
It was just after they like revealed what Rindo's whole deal. I think.
And then we were the Magishima's flashback was set up, and that's where we come in.
So we've got the entire perfect trace, most broken technique in the entire game.
Yeah, I think right now I'm kind of the mindset that is either going to be a clean sweep for Central, or it'll I think Ro stands a good chance of getting knocked.
I would be surprised if
prediction.
I'm sorry. Milo?
I'm gonna say I at least like that this arc is making me at least question a few matchups. Like maybe they do have a small chance here. I mean, most likely they're all gonna get taken down, but at least it has me second guessing if that is the case, rather than just making sure that, yeah, these guys aren't gonna win. None of them are.
Yeah.
I mean, I have no doubt that that Central is gonna clean sweep this one, but I'm still interested. And Subaru was hilarious in these chapters, and his interpretation of some of the characters was quite
terrifying,
but also questionable. For example, I didn't really gather from Nene that she was this tsundere, but
that was weird.
Well,
well,
It kind of
I'll kill you.
It kind of reminded me of Barbecue Chat. Remember that, Wensleydale?
oh
Yeah,
god.
those expressions of theirs and those hairstyles on that giant face, that's just comedy gold.
It was scary.
And then this one guy just comes in and, okay then.
I'm pretty sure he just walked back and either drank a lot of bleach to forget it or quit his job, thinking like, my own
also,
car.
what did you guys think about the Megishima flashback?
I think no. I think. Oh yeah, I remember literally like the last chapter we looked at was when, like, I think it was when Soma, like, convinced him to join him, or was. Am I thinking of the discussion Chris and Nick had, or yeah, no, I think I'm thinking of the discussion that Chris and Nick had and placing us in it by accident. Never mind.
Soon we'll take over. Wear their skin soon. Yeah.
I was quite. I was quite, or maybe not. Yeah, I was quite surprised how brutal the authors chose to portray it as a kind of straight up shonen battle.
Yeah, those were some really cool panels.
Maybe it's just
I do always love.
I think it's just that after the first few bouts, Megishima just grew real tired of it and figured he'd just start beating someone with a slab of meat until he quit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I thought it was a very serviceable flashback. I still think he's got the. I don't know. I agree with the comment I heard that it's the wrong design. Like the writer and artist thought of this design and have since applied this backstory to him and this speciality.
I mean, you mean you mean how he was changed over the last arc?
Well, if you think about it, as when you saw him at the autumn election, the autumn, what was it called? Like the autumn, tea drinking ceremony thing where they Cancer Tango got introduced.
Okay.
Yes.
At any point in that scene would you said that's the ramen guy?
Okay.
I really had
know
no
what you mean.
impression of this guy to begin with, so.
Yeah.
I'm just waiting for this round to get over, and it's been better, but I'm still waiting for Food Wars to hook.
It has been going on. I think. I think I have in regards to the clean sweep for Central outcome, I have a theory on how it might go down.
Yeah.
I think we've been focusing a lot on the individual flair of each of the dishes on Soma's side, whereas the whole idea is we have to all serve our dishes at once. So Central have such a synergy that serving the dishes one after the other makes them complement each other.
Oh, that'll work so well because it's Azami's menu, so they will all blend with each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll work. Also,
Yeah,
because
that's
also
fine.
the clean sweep should happen for narrative purposes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it should, but I'll just say that, I know it's probably going to happen, but at least there is that small twinge of doubt in my mind with all the effort they put in for the resistance, especially with like Kuga working together with. Fuck, I can never remember the copy guy's name.
Wait,
Subaru.
Mimisaka.
Yeah, Mimisaka, there's no way Mimisaka can win because they've essentially pulled out, look at this broken-ass technique. There's no way he can possibly lose. Oh, look, this sushi guy is obviously so good that there's nothing in his meal that can be added to. By adding to it, you've ruined it.
And the reason I think the ramen guy is a little more up in the air is because, like, him and Rindo have both of them just shown their hand in this Shokugeki. Like, we've never seen either before, properly, or at least in Rindo's case, properly get serious. So
okay, I still think we haven't focused enough on Kuga,
True.
and
which is a shame because that started off really nicely, and we just haven't been back to it. Also, did it appear? Sorry.
It could be that his idea is like just to make it so that all of these flow through efficiently. He's going to leave the bulk of the focus to when they're both trying dishes on that.
Yeah. I'm just no. Did it hit anyone else as really out of character when Cougar essentially said like, no, I'm to beat you I will side. I'm putting aside my petty grievances to beat you in this for my co-hide. It's like, really? Have you had major character development since the last time we saw you?
I guess this is it.
It was just like, I would really have liked to have seen you run your head against this brick wall at full speed because that would have been a really interesting fight to watch. But apparently, you're still going to lose, and it's not going to be as interesting.
Oh, I guess so. Shall we move on to My Hero?
Yeah.
Sure.
This was kind of cool. When are we going back for this one?
I believe we were in the middle of Kirishima's flashback, or it was at the start of Kirishima's flashback.
I think the week we were going to do was the Kirishima flashback, which was weird.
Was it?
Yeah, it was a little
good.
unusual.
It was good, but okay, I'll go over my how I thought Kirishima's back flashback was weird in that for where it was placed, it should have been it was weird that it was 2 chapters long.
Okay.
And that my problem with it is that it should have, from the way it was set up in narrative, it should have been a 1 chapter flashback ending with Fat Gum's punch. However, it was a 2 chapter flashback, which made it feel like it was going to be setting him up for being a bigger character. In which case, they shouldn't have placed it in the middle of the fight, and they should have spent more than 2 chapters on it. And also the fact that his talk with Red Riot was very, very similar to essentially Deku's motivation with All Might early on. So it felt a bit like I didn't quite know what they were going for it because it felt like it was trapped in the middle of 2 different extremes and failed at both of them.
I think for me it was more the placement that was odd, well as the fact that afterwards Dylan gets up like, oh yeah, we're gonna have a rematch. I'm like, where are they going with this? That's a bit unusual.
I thought that was cool. That was essentially like, okay, this Kirishima's a big character now. They probably should have spent longer on that flashback in a different place. But cool, he's got an evil rival now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's not Tetsu.
I'm not sure Tetsu was evil, though. We still haven't figured out who the traitor from the UA school is.
If Rapper kills Tetsu for like motivation later on, I'm all behind this.
Oh, I guess I guess I really like this chapter for the surprise value it has. We spent the last fight of Kirishima's affirming that that self-reflection and all wasn't what his character was, wasn't what his fighting style should be. And then we turn a 180 on that in this flashback, giving him, more of a underdog-like quality with Ashido as the person he looks up to, which, by the way, was great. I was very surprised, but I loved Ashido's inclusion in this.
It was a nice touch.
Especially the horns thing, which was earlier foreshadowed with the big trio girl pointing them out.
I wouldn't call it foreshadowing. Yeah, I would essentially call it, oh shit, I made a character design with two people with horns. Do you reckon they commented on that at any point?
It's still good even in hindsight.
And then
I do like the
that,
black. Though I think the pacing was a little bit off. Like this could have taken, I'd say, 1.5 chapters rather than 2 whole chapters, and the pacing would have worked a little better.
Yeah,
especially since My Hero Academia is usually very economical with its pacing. It doesn't signal in a lot of cases. Sometimes it goes a bit too fast.
Oh yeah. Which I think this might have been it. I think it might have been okay, here's the setup for this amazing end. Oh shit, I haven't put Kirishima's backstory anywhere. I need to find somewhere to fit it in. Cut it shorter and put it here.
Yeah, so also for me, the placement is really the issue. Otherwise, I really liked it. So yeah.
I don't think the placement was bad. Just the pacing at it, which it was inserted into the fight, was a little off.
Yeah.
Okay. And then since then we've had the introduction of Toga and what's the guy's name? The split personality one. Twice.
The chapter that
their introduction.
Yeah. It was the chapter told from this perspective of 2 insane people that everyone's complaining makes no sense.
I guess I wouldn't be complaining if I could understand what exactly it's about.
But I think that's the point. For the entire chapter, the two perspective characters are the crazy ones. If it made sense, I'd be more confused.
Yeah, but also I think they gave really good impression of Toga's skills by she got hit on
Eraserhead, yeah.
Really good hand-to-hand combatant. You don't remember how many villains he took on arc when the first Nomu appeared? I can't remember the name of that arc.
Yeah.
And now Toga just lands a hit. Not a lethal one.
I think she lands it as he's protecting Deku, but it is significant that Toga is able to catch Eraserhead off guard.
So with all this, with all these developments, they're now basically acting as the wild card they're now working alongside the heroes on the Hisekai, which I will just say as a side note, I really like the scene where he's just kind of pulling him to his senses. I feel like the whole deal with the League of Villains is that they're a bit dysfunctional as a team, and more emphasis is shown on making them intimidating, which hopefully they will continue to be more of an intimidating presence as the series goes on. But for now, I do really like that element of.
Yeah, and I'd say the League of Villains has always been the kind of entity that's growing at the same pace our main characters are.
That's one of
the reasons I think Shigaraki is one of the most interesting villains in Jump at the moment. He hasn't been the most powerful or intimidating, except when he shows his face. That's when I just shit myself.
Yep.
But he's always growing, and I can always think what will he be next time they meet up?
It's really interesting because it's essentially the League of Villains are the direct parallel to Class A. You've got the story of a teacher of a of a waning teacher and 2 rising students on both sides, and it's fascinating.
I also think doing little things, having an arc where maybe the League of Villains and the heroes have to work alongside each other, it makes the villains feel more organic as characters as opposed to just another team of villains. So when it gets to the point where the heroes finally have to show down with them, I think it'll have more of an impact and there'll be more history behind it.
Well,
yeah.
I wouldn't say they're working together, just their goals happen to align.
Yeah, they have a common enemy.
It's the control. They're the controlled chaos in this one. Well, I say controlled. They're the chaotic element in this one that both sides are going to have to adapt to. And by the look of it, the heroes are going to take advantage of it, and the Plague Mask people are going to suffer for it. Though it is something I find interesting in that the League of Villains, though a lot less time has been spent on them, feel slightly better developed as a whole than Class A. And it's something that I realized when I was going through the Kirishima flashback, and also recently because the Stain fight just got dubbed in the anime, and I'd forgotten how amazing that was.
Oh, yes.
I think the anime actually made it a little better in some areas. Like they've done that
much
in quite
easier
a few scenes.
to follow.
Oh yeah, I think the moment when Stain gets back up and essentially shouts down all the heroes until his rib punctures his lung, wasn't done as well because too much time was spent on it. It was just like, okay, now it's unbelievable. And when in the manga, it's just like a couple of pages and, oh no, he's dead on his feet. Shit.
No, I was kind of confused about this in the manga as well, so I guess it didn't really have the impact on me as it did for most people.
Yeah, and I think one little tidbit was that they really showed openly Deku texting everyone his location, where
that
in
was
the
a nice
manga,
touch.
yeah, I just preferred in the manga it was a blink and you'll miss it thing. Like, he did it in a panel, but if you weren't paying attention, you would go back and see they did it and go like, oh wow, he actually did it there. I didn't even notice.
I think that is the natural, like, the way the anime, because basically the way the anime is made is like fit with the Japanese broadcast system of you do it in cours, so sets of 13 and 12, like 12 or 25 episodes. So it needs to pad out each arc to stretch the core. And to be fair, the Stain arc was much less padded out than previous arcs. Oddly enough, like they stretched out the tournament a lot more, which I think works because you have more characters to play with to begin with. So it artificially padding it out doesn't feel as doesn't feel as bad.
Well, I wouldn't say it was padded, just it took a little longer to do that kind of storyline.
Yeah,
and it was what, 3 episodes of the fight, and it worked really well. But my point was going to be is that was the last thing Ida did in this series. He got built up really well, but since then he's dropped off the face of the earth.
Well, he did have that one very nice moment where he asked Deku what was wrong. I think we touched on it, but that was just one scene. And
the build-up to All for One confrontation, he was the one to tell everyone you should not be going, and acting there to keep them from engaging All for One. Like, he's been there. He hasn't had as major of a role, but he's still been there.
Well, those 2 moments they're the ones that stand out, because if you look back at the start, the 3-man group was him, Uraraka, and Deku. And since we've expanded into Class A, a lot of people have dropped off, and we really haven't heard much from them. And I think I think I've noticed something with the writing in this, in that is the is it Horikoshi?
Yes. Horikoshi, yeah.
Yeah, he can write. He's trying to write a small, a group, an ensemble cast, but he's doing it by cycling through the 3-man band with different characters, and as I'm feeling this big rise with Kirishima, and it's just like, this is great. I want to see what he's going to do next. And in my back of my mind, it's just like, you felt exactly the same way with Ida, and what's he done since? He's had a couple of good moments, but he's on the on the downhill stretch, and Kirishima, and soon I fear Kirishima will be as well.
This does kind of tie into the point I made earlier of I don't think he underutilizes certain characters because he doesn't like them or out of malice towards them. I think it's just because he likes to cycle through them a lot, which is in some ways, to the series' detriment.
I think
Well, I don't think.
I think that's because Kirishima was one of the let's say main three at the beginning might mean that he will only be getting some more important arcs in the future. I don't think that this was the last thing we've seen of Ida's, but because he has been a very close friend to Deku, and I don't think this is where he's finished.
Yeah,
Oh,
and
not
I'd
finished,
say like
but it's disappointing to see him after rising, see him plateau out and decline into the background.
I would disagree with you there quite heavily, since this is a large cast. Sometimes you're gonna have to push some people in the back so that others can shine, and he never forgets those characters. Just he wants to frontline someone else for a change, to let everyone shine for a while.
Yeah,
Yeah, true. I just don't think they should I don't think he's the style particularly, especially the fast-paced style, particularly lets anyone shine from the background. Because remember, we started this off with Uraraka and Tsuyu coming along to play a part in this fight, and have yet to see them since we came inside.
Yep. Please give them something to do, Horikoshi, for God's sake.
I mean, if they don't get to do anything, I'll still be mad.
Yeah. So it's even characters set up to be important in this arc have been pushed to the wayside so we can focus on other ones.
Oh god, yeah, no, the in the anime, like, this was the most recent episode, so I'd understand if people aren't up to date. They've actually added in a filler of focusing on Tsuyu's internship.
Yeah, I saw that part.
Yeah, I really like that because she doesn't have much to do during the arcs in season 2. So I like that they added that in.
I didn't know what her internship was, and I saw a clip in a 5-second shot in an earlier episode where she's doing push-ups with sailors, and it's just like this makes perfect sense. This is a great insight into her internship that I didn't get in the manga.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm looking forward to watching that.
I would honestly like to see a more interesting character get focused on other than Tsuyu. Honestly, I'm sorry.
I want to see Earjack Girl get focused on because everything we've seen from her is really interesting. From like her general interactions with people, her powers, and my favorite part was seeing her home life where her dad was like a famous record producer or a singer and was trying to be big and tough, and she was just completely in control of the situation.
Mm-hmm. All right.
So shall we move on to Black Clover, which I completely don't remember?
I'll go get a drink.
Black Clover, there were good chapters. Like, there was the one where Finral and his brother got to do stuff, and that set up something interesting.
Okay.
Then there was the deer guy, when that was terrible. And then I think we've essentially just set up the fight with Noelle versus her brother, which I think I should have liked, but I didn't.
I think basically it's that we have two same things happen in this arc. Finral's fight against his douchier brother, and Noelle's fight against her douchier brother. So
her insanely douchier brother, like. The lengths this series goes to make me care for its characters by making the villains irrationally evil is getting funny.
Right. I forgot we've seen Noelle's hints of Noelle's backstory in these chapters.
I think my main problem is that my main problem with this arc is that I don't care about any of the other characters enough to be interested in their fights, and the way they're apparently trying to counter this is to put them against somebody so heinous that I have to side with the good guys, and I'd rather not read the chapter.
I'll tell you.
I'm just being.
Yeah, go on, Graham.
Yeah, I'm just kind of being on autopilot with Black Clover. Like, okay, I'll read it. Okay, read it. Now I can just forget that and never think about it again. Like, I'm just not into it because this tournament hasn't really built my investment in most of these characters.
Yeah. Also, the fight is boring. It's destroy the gem, and most fights so far have essentially been like, I've got this really powerful magic attack that breaks through your out of nowhere defense of the gem, and oh look, I won.
Not to mention the magic styles usually just aren't that interesting when
They're
working
not.
against one another because they're just like, I throw an attack, I throw an attack. It's like some JRPG where you just like select either fire or ice spell and it just does this much damage instead of interacting in any interesting ways.
Yeah, the action's not interesting. I don't care about any of these characters, and this is a perfect time for the series to make me care about them. They have a fight with two unknowns where they're the only one and against, specifically, they can be against anyone they have a personal grudge against. The writer can tune this entire fight to tell me why I should care about Noelle, or why I should care about Finral's brother, or why I should care about why I should hate Mimosa's brother. And I don't care about any of them.
Yeah, I'll compare this to My Hero Academia, because in that one, the tournament arc happened in the perfect timing. Like, just in the beginning where we were getting introduced to everyone to let us know why we should care. And even that, we had a cartoonishly evil family member in Endeavor. But that wasn't about, I want to go up against my father. I want to prove my father I'm better. It was about his own need to prove who he is and what his father's quirk means to him. Like, is that what defines him, his father's quirk, or what should he define himself?
Yeah.
They made that conflict so much more interesting. And they made me care about every fight, even if it was a short one. I mean, remember Bakugo versus Uraraka? That was just slug against slug. But they put so much soul into that fight. Made me think of like, Uraraka is doing everything. And Bakugo's still just beating her by raw power.
I had forgotten how much I loved that fight when I watched it in the anime, and I'd also forgotten...
It was handled super well.
I'd also forgotten how much stuff I stole from that fight for the melee. And I just didn't realise. Okay, flying jacket, got it. Flying stones, got it. Running in, and I got beaten by a giant fireball. Got it.
I'll tell you what the most heinous crime in these chapters of Black Clover was. We skipped the fight of Ben, Brad, and Eric.
I'm actually just kind of impressed we actually saw these fights, because I know I was calling for a while we were just going to see the Asta fights.
Well, it's not like they took that long. I mean, the Finral fight lasted like half a chapter.
To give the Finral fight and Finral's brothers fight its credit, I thought that they were the best things in this arc so far. Not saying much, but I did like the setup for that reasonably well. Then we had Purple Deer Guy, and he can fuck himself.
Yeah, but I actually did like Finral's brother's fight in the way that it just showed how powerful it is.
No, I haven't read the chapter, but just hearing that from Barnaby, I'm just like, his magical power is that he can fuck himself.
It might as well be. He essentially has the I can do anything power. Oh, it's so broken, and he's not in. They tried to make him interesting with a tragic backstory, and nobody cares.
Yeah, Ril's fight really wasn't handled well, and I'm really irritated that they even put him in this tournament, because if he's going to take part in the tournament, then why not the other captains? I mean,
if we start asking questions about why with Black Clover, we will be here for a while. I know, but I know exactly what you mean. There's no reason for him to be there. Well, the thing is, there is a reason for him to be there, because there was a question of like, okay, we've not seen anything about these purple deers. what are they about? Or azure deers. What colour are the deers meant to be?
I think we have purple orcas and.
That's what I was thinking.
And
Okay, I'm back. My internet died for a second.
Good.
I really don't care what the color is.
Yeah, and it's just like I know people were asking, what's about? I haven't heard anything with this captain guy. Tell me more about them. And it's just like, no, I'd rather you did anything else but this, because that's. It was 2 chapters that I'd rather not have read. Anyone else got anything to say on Black Clover? Because otherwise I'm just going to make myself depressed that I read these chapters.
Now,
like I said, I've just been on autopilot.
Wow.
They're just meh. They're not bad. There's nothing to take from them, but they're not good. And it's one of those ones that's like, I don't know why this is still being made. I can see nothing people would want to read in this. Fairy Tale was bad, but I could see at least 2 reasons on every woman why people would want to read this.
I think we should just move over and briefly discuss Dr. Stone.
Yay, this will cheer me up.
Okay, yeah, let's go for this.
So,
robe
bikinis.
I love all these chapters. These are amazing.
And not only because of robe bikinis.
Oh yeah, also that.
Milo's favourite.
Yes,
apparently.
Yeah, you destroyed an entire episode, so we wouldn't have you on air saying that, but okay.
Yeah, when I read these, I thought these chapters were great. I was really waiting for Inagaki to work with a larger cast, and I'm not disappointed. Even side characters like Kinro and Ginro are a lot of fun, and I find myself being entertained by every chapter where we find out more about the village.
Yeah, and I'm hoping this builds to a slightly larger cast that just keeps increasing a little bit, even if everyone doesn't come to the same level as Chrome or Kohaku.
Yeah.
Plus, I think Suika's really adorable.
Oh, she's lovely.
Oh.
I also did like so in the episode that got lost, I went on an entire rant about how so far everything in Dr. Stone has been sort of scientifically accurate of what a person who knows essentially all of Wikipedia could achieve in the Stone Age. And I found myself laughing my head off this chapter when they made the ramen, because only in Japan would somebody claim to have made pasta before bread. It was just the absurdity of it. Like, and then we're going to do these 3 steps, and we're going to put it in the oven and make bread. You know, the thing that was discovered, that was heralded as the start of the agrarian period. Nope. We're going to keep doing 7 more steps to make it technically worse tasting and less nutritious for you, and we're going to make ramen instead.
Well, I mean, I guess if they wanted to make something impressive rather than just plain bread.
Hey, bread itself is historic. I was expecting bread because historically it's a major invention. After the Stone Age, you hit agrarian and you got bread, and that's when humanity could grow and make civilization.
Yeah, I understand that from the scientific point of view, but like from a reader point of view, you can't really make it impressive when they say we made bread.
I had the same reaction to what you were expecting people for bread was when they brought out ramen. I was just like, okay, I've had this. It's not as good tasting as you think it is.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's good tasting, but it's a bit more complex.
Is
so
it
it's
though?
more impressive.
It's noodles in water with meat. From a guy who doesn't know how to make ramen in canon because it tastes horrible, and that was my other favourite joke.
Yeah, but it tastes absolutely fantastic to all the Stone Age people. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean their palate probably is a lot simpler. So
hell, I imagine salt is the only condiment they have. Like you either have the normal meat or you put salt on the meat.
So Shokugeki no Senku aside, what do we think about the the reveal of Ruri and her glimpses into the what do we call it, the modern age.
You mean how she took folk stories and made them and turned them into JoJo's Bizarre Adventure?
That's Fist of the North Star.
Going even more old school.
I'm intrigued because they've stated that this village has not only has no contact with outsiders, but essentially has been going for so many generations that they don't know that about the old world. So essentially what I'm assuming is that she's the high priestess. They have a holy text or something, or she's the only one able to read the ancient writings, which is, I don't know, Japanese or English. That is essentially the story of Peach Boy or whatever he's called, Momotaro. And that's where that's going to be, and that she knows that humanity came from the stone statues in the ancient world because it's essentially the religion for them.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be interesting to see where they go with this. Like, how long has passed? Two, how did the information become so diluted?
Definitely.
I'm just interested in this regarding the character of Ruri, whether she maybe this was her misinterpretation, or whether she purposefully, as I think Senku suggests, purposefully manipulated this information so that it makes it more useful to the civilization that's there, so that it's more practical.
About how all the animals outside are far more terrifying than the original fable talked about, therefore enforcing their isolationist policy.
Yeah,
I definitely see that. She's been made to be slightly sinister just for holding a shred of information, and it works really well. Also, that one page where they essentially have a weird light beneath her, that I'm not entirely sure what they put there, like in universe. Because there's that one panel which shows her looking terrifying with the low light, low angle shot. And it's like, you don't have candles or lights. What did you put there to get this effect?
And we also learned that Chrome, like I'm pretty sure you all guessed, has a thing for Ruri.
I loved that joke. That was the funniest thing.
Yeah, though, how many of you already figured that out before that?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
yeah.
moment you mentioned her, it was pretty clear.
And about how Senku's isn't social enough to get it instantly, but then Kohaku was just like, so yeah, and Senku's just like, I completely understand the situation. This will be funny.
Yeah, and Chrome is the one who doesn't understand it.
And then the one later when he's such a kid and just like, Chrome, both me, your irrational hatred of girls is very childish. You know, both me and Ruri are girls. You're not a girl, you're a gorilla.
Yeah,
is that the bit where she does
gag.
the colossal titan reaction?
Yeah.
No, I do love what I didn't notice before was like when they're talking about how Chrome just doesn't get the feelings thing. You also see that Suika has a little question mark over her head.
That's adorable.
Right at the bottom of the battle. Yeah, everything Suika does is adorable.
I also think I realized in these chapters why I love Dr. Stone so much, and it's not just because it's scientifically accurate and I'm a nerd. Not just. It's because Senku is a very flawed protagonist for a Shonen Jump manga. Every time we see him, there's still a side of him that thinks he's better than all the Stone Age people because he's from the future. Mm-hmm. You see it. It's often called for a joke a number of times when he does obviously villain expressions with villain monologues, and Kohaku's just like, sometimes I wonder if I was right siding with you. But then you also have the thing where at the end of this last chapter, he's with them as an equal, eating with them. It's just like, oh, it must taste really good. I must be a genius. It's like, oh no, they have no palate. It's not that I'm used to different things. It's that it tastes terrible and they're all wrong. And it's very interesting. So I want to see how and when they take what takes Senku down to earth, in that he's not special because he's from the future. He's not the king of this kingdom of science he's yet to create, and they should all fall in behind him. He's an equal amongst them, and he should work with his fellows to create. He should give what he knows without expecting to be king, essentially.
Yeah, it's essentially you're essentially looking for the humbling the Felix character moment.
Yeah, yes, I do. I write massive arseholes who just happen to be right all the time, because I like reading about massive arseholes who just happen to be right all the time.
Yeah, but
don't we all?
Yeah. Anyway, I also like that all this time Senku hasn't been the one who's responsible for everything, because he is still limited as a human being, especially when it comes to physical aspects.
It's been a nice touch in that even when he's topless all the time, they haven't given him random abs, which they, for some reason, tend to do with sciencey characters that are meant, like, with power fantasy sciencey characters.
Well, he did used to have them in the beginning chapters, but yeah,
I'd forgotten that.
Yeah, but when I think the editor told Boichi his style needs to change a little bit, then he started drawing Senku without them.
So he's not just Ken from Sunken Rock.
Yeah.
He looked a little badlier in the first chapter, at least.
Yeah. Like, in universe, like, you might be able to explain it in the moment his friend woke up, he just like, I need to do no more working out ever again. Speaking of which,
but then again, he also did have to push cut a lot after he got out of the stone.
Yeah. So in character, I could see the reason, but I imagine it does sound like an editorial decision.
But I'm glad they went that way.
And Molly did some it was really nice. Then why are
I hear strange things.
Yeah, I hear some background noise too.
I'm attempting to print something at the moment, but it's really not working, so I'll try later.
Okay. So shall we move on to We Never Learn?
Yeah. So I believe I can remember the chapters we missed. There was the one with the teacher where he goes round to her flat. Then there was the one with the sleepover, which really fucked with me for reasons I'll get into in a second. And then it's this whole plot point with Uruka and her almost finding out that she had a crush, but then they kind of reverse on it because the harem must go on.
It was better than it could have been.
Yeah. No, I didn't have too much of a problem.
So fun fact.
Here's the reason I.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. You're first.
Yeah. No. The thing that really confused me in the chapter with the sleepover is that in the week between that and the last chapter, I seem to have both forgotten that what the teacher looked like and that Sekijo was a character. So in my head, I fused them into one and thought, oh, the teacher's sleeping around with them. What's going on?
Why are they creepy quickly?
Why are they talking like it's a girls' night? Why is she commenting on Ogata's boob size? This is what? And I tweeted about it, like, what the hell? This is so weird. And then I tweeted it, oh, I'm an idiot. She's not the teacher.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any other thoughts?
I'm currently at. Yes.
Yeah,
can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. So, fun fact: I'm currently working at a place where, because we're not in a central city zone, all of our internet has to go through a router, so that everything that we're looking through is, it is searchable. So because of that, I specifically do not read We Never Learn. That is I really, because I really don't want those panels taken out of context. So I have no knowledge of what's been going on in that series for the past month.
Oh.
It's not been bad for a harem series, I think would be my general summation of We Never Learn for the last month.
Yeah.
I quite enjoy it, and as harem series go, it's done it better than most.
Yeah, it's kind of an amusing, mildly diverting thing. It falls into a place in in my weekly roster of manga that I read. Just kind of, it's always a pleasant thing to come to, I guess. And there's no other series that quite fills that void for me. So yeah, I'm quite happy.
Yeah, I'd say
with it.
This is what Nisekoi was for me. Something I just read kind of casually. It's okay, it makes me laugh, but I don't think too hard on it.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
I will say, I made a comment on why I couldn't get into Nisekoi, and I'm pretty sure from reading this, it was just that at the point that I started Nisekoi, I wasn't in the mood for a harem comedy thing. So
I think that's the point that We Never Learn is in right now is a little worse than early Nisekoi, but a little better than late Nisekoi, or rather the middle portion of it, because we see a bit of progression, and maybe this is a nice middle ground that we don't see a ton of progression in character relationships, but we see it a little bit sprinkled between the comedy chapters. So I guess I like it fine.
Yeah, I'd sort of see this. It's a harem, so nothing's groundbreaking is going to happen until the series ends. But I do. At the moment, it feels like we're watching characters grow up. Every time they make it's not like the bad harems where they'll introduce a character flaw at the start of a chapter to solve it at the end to get back to the status quo. Every time something happens, it's one of the characters learns more about themselves or about the others, and essentially how to talk to the opposite sex. And I quite like that.
I like it. I think my issue, and I think it's more a question of just generally what I found with tastes for this kind of series is I think the cast is a little too one-sided. By which I mean, I feel like we need a few more characters who exist in relation to Uega who aren't love interest-wise. Like, I feel like we kind of need a few more of his friends, or a few to balance it a little bit.
Yeah,
because right now
maybe a Shu character, right?
Something like that, or even like a Rui for these characters, in the sense that everything feels a little bit too contained, and I think it just needs to spread out a little bit because, and I'm still enjoying it. I think that's the general consensus I found here. We're all enjoying the series. It's just that I feel like it's in a transitional period right now where it needs to start changing things a little bit. Otherwise, I'm worried people are going to start to get bored with the format.
Well, this past month,
I mean, and please, oh God, don't make those boring best friend characters more prominent who are like, oh, but the girls are so cute, and you're just MC-kun. Why didn't you tell us how to talk? Ah, go.
I did like that they turned up like two
the
panels
guy
and
from
fucked
Cross
up.
Manager. The guys from Cross Account are Uega's best friends. Oh God.
But this last month, the writer girl sort of slipped into that character. There's been hints that she's going to go back out into being a love interest again, but it's been nice to see her literally step in as a female friend and go, "You're an idiot. Actually think about these things and work it out," but doing it by the side about route, because you can't have a conversation like that in a harem, otherwise essentially your series is over.
I think
I was gonna say it's sort of like it's like the equivalent of like bringing up commitment in a harem series is kind of like the equivalent of like bringing up the concept of manga in One Piece. It just breaks the world completely. Like
there's ways. I don't think we never learned at the stage where they can bring up commitment yet, because Yuega's only just realized a girl around him might be interested in him, and it got shot down. I think, like, I was a guy, and I know a lot of guys who are at the stage of just like, I like girls. There's no way on God's green earth that they will be interested in me. So I have no idea what to do about it.
I'm gonna make a prediction now. The fact that Furuhashi is taking on that role at the moment means that she's gonna win in the end.
I don't think. You say that maybe. I wouldn't want it to happen, but that does tend towards the Japanese taste, and so does she.
Yeah.
In which case, I'm all for that, because I would actually be for that, because that's an interesting turn of, I step back, no, actually I do like you, and now I've got further to fight for you.
Yeah.
Also, further to pump it into your head that girls like you. Pay attention, Yuega.
Also, like, I think one thing that is a bit different, I feel like Nisekoi always kind of lent towards Onodera as the main girl in the way that it pushed its, marketing and stuff, and just the way the series was set up. So, did I say Onodera?
Yeah, you said Onodera, and I really wondered why.
I'm sorry.
What a twist!
No. That was silly of me. No, whereas with this, it was like started with two girls with pretty much equal focus, and then introduced a third one very early on, and been focusing on those three a lot. So yeah, it's a little less obvious as to which is going to come out on top at the end.
Yeah.
I do like the theory that it was originally he wanted to do the Thumbelina and Swimming Girl as the two, but editorially got pushed to include Writing Girl, and then got told, and then you can introduce Swimming Girl later if it's going well. You're just like, fuck it, chapter 3, Swimming Girl's here, and now I'm just going to move out this character you made me put in. In which case, I've got a feeling the teacher may also be an editorial mandate, because every time she turns up, the series tends to feel like it's a different series for a bit. If you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Like
kind of.
The humor switches. Yugata, instead of becoming constantly the underdog emotionally and like socially, has his shit together, and it's the teacher that makes all the mistakes. And I think I remember reacting really badly to that chapter.
Yeah,
I
think it would have been okay. I think it would have been okay if like she was being more than he thought, but he was kind of awkward. But yeah,
he made no mistakes in that entire chapter. Everything he did was understandable and perfect, including the end where he's just like, "Hey, did you just? Is it okay to invite a guy into your flat?" Which is apparently a big thing in Japan, but okay. It felt like a different series for a second with different characters.
Okay.
So, any more thoughts, or shall we finish things up?
Nah.
All right then.
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay then. So that is gonna do it for this week of Stammer Stream. Thank you for watching either on my YouTube channel or live at twitch.tv/Wensleydale Cheddar. We usually try to record on Tuesdays at noon Eastern Standard Time, 5 PM GMT and 6 PM GMT +1. You can follow me on Twitter at WensleyCheddar for updates on the stream, on Penganta, Friendly Faces Everywhere, Iffy Reviews, and many other projects. Follow Milo at Hovin with an H for anime waifus, Cabal Hijinks, and Cabal Cast, which is definitely coming, guys. Definitely. Follow Dr. Nova at Jonah Love Snow for things like his WMR Choose Your Own Adventure game. And follow our special guests, Grail9 and Nuclear Android for gaming tweets and stuff. And follow Kastor at Kastor UK for absolute naught. Be sure to visit our One Piece RP forum, or One Dream Adventure Reborn, to write some lovely stories with us and talk about manga in general. odar.comforums.com is the address. And finally, guys, Kastor UK has become a moderator. in our forum. So that means all the members of SummerStream have been moderators at some point.
Finally joining the club.
Hey.
How has it been,
the review
Kastor?
system. It's going well. I've had fun helping people helping out with the settings and the profiles. Enjoying might be the wrong word for reviewing, but so far it has been fun.
Well, enjoy while it lasts. Soon you'll all be replaced by tedium and non-caring as you secretly long for death of this position, so you can be free and go away.
I don't know. There was a lot of unexpected murder in my last adventure, so yeah, let's go with that.
Oh dear.
You get used to that when you read Al's adventures later.
Apart from Kastor being a mod, did we have anything else to announce?
Me and Kastor might have something.
Yeah, we've been playing around with the idea we talked about last week about doing a Guilty Crown podcast, mostly so I can finally get it off my system and slay my white whale.
However,
I decided that I can't watch an episode of Guilty Crown and then have to relive it in podcast form. So we're going to be doing a commentary on the episode so I can rant in real time.
Oh.
And you can watch along with us.
Yeah.
Cool.
We're going to do it tomorrow afternoon, aren't we?
Yeah, it should be. We probably won't be live streaming
No,
it.
not for the first one.
We can record it and,
Yeah.
we can record it and I'll post it somewhere. I have YouTube channels around.
Yeah, so if you want to see me literally lose my shit over my most hated series imaginable, and then Hovin explain essentially why it's so terrible and why it pisses me off so much, and occasionally why it's okay. But
no, these are the mechanics.
I might
want to
do a guest verse on that. That sounds like fun.
And this is why. No, I have to. The technical reasons of why the cat girl in the black jumpsuit has to press this button with her butt. It's very important.
And how this goddamn series got made.
Wait, what?
It's insane.
Okay, whenever this happens, I'm just gonna watch an episode randomly and jump in. This sounds hilarious. So you've got yourself your first guest star.
So if you want to join that madness, if I survive the experience, we'll post it up.
Yeah,
I think I would like to try that.
Because I've actually seen the whole thing, and oh god, if we get to the second half,
this is how I'm watching this series. I was thinking of suggesting a name for it called Anime Therapy, which is essentially helping me watch this series.
The trial of Guilty.
Yes, the
Question:
trial.
Is this a light novel adaptation?
No, well, it's definitely an adaptation.
It's an original anime.
Bullshit, it's an original anime.
Well, not in that sense. No.
Alright, so I will catch up on Guilty Crown, and with that, I'm gonna head out. Have a good time, guys.
See you, Joe.
See you, Jonah.
Yeah, I think I'm also gonna drop now. So I can still brush my teeth before bed. Got a job interview tomorrow.
Yeah, good luck with that. So yeah, bye then.
Good.
Bye.
Kastor, could you just say where are you going to post it?
Well, it's still early days, so I think. Are you recording, Marlo?
I'll see if I can get Skype recorder up and working.
That
No
sounds
promises. Yeah. If not, I might have to try this. I don't know.
Find
Maybe
something.
we'll OBS. We'll find something.
But no, we'll get this sorted because it honestly sounds like a lot of fun, and from your guys' reaction, it sounds like something people will want to watch. If nothing else, to see me go literally lose my shit.
And
Yeah.
for me to enjoy every step of the way.
Yes.
Yeah, I unfortunately didn't manage to read all of your Guilty Crown reviews on ODAR, which by the way, if you're listening to this, you can read up on it there. But yeah,
What was the title of it all again? The full title of what you called it?
I think it was guilt. I can do this.
You can
Guilty
do it.
Crown. I hate this series with a passion because my favorite series of all time is Code Geass, and this is essentially a bastardization of it in every worst way.
Yeah, that kind of. It also has elements of Ava and Gurren Lagann in there, but it is mostly Guilty Crown wannabe, the anime. So.
Oh, it's so bad. And we're gonna get through this because I've heard tales of how bad the ending is, and I want to get to it, but I don't think I can. I don't think I can do it alone, Milo. You've got to help me.
I think I can spoil a bit for you, and if you conveniently forgot it, make it a little sweeter.
Yes.
All right then, I'm definitely looking forward to that. So, once again, cheers for watching, and we will see you next week. Take care.